You have found your way to From Dirt We Grow. I'm your host, Stephanie Kendall. You're awesome for being here, and you're awesome for all of your support, your likes, your shares, your subscribes. And if you haven't done so already, if you find the content resonating with you at any point, do not hesitate to hit that subscribe button. You will be much appreciated for that. You have found your way to the place for truth and the real deep conversations that it will take to make real changes. So let's get into it. Let's get this going. A while ago, I looked into the whitehouse.gov website and found some of the executive orders that I've been highlighting lately. It calls out the hypocrisies, the blatant lies, the just insanity that comes out of this administration. Let's get into the first one right now. Okay, so this first order we're looking at here is guaranteeing fair banking for all Americans. This is telling us that some financial institutions participated in government-directed surveillance programs targeting persons participating in activities and causes commonly is associated with conservatism and the political right following the events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. The institutions flag individuals who make transactions related to companies like Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops, or who made peer-to-peer payments that involve terms like Trump or MAGA, even though there was no specific evidence tying those individuals to criminal conduct. Whoa, wait a minute. Screw. Time out. Ref. Let's get an instant replay on this one, please. I need to take it to the booth. We need to get a booth review on this one. Let's take it back. Oh, okay. So I had to rewind back to this part right here. Because they're talking about the same people that stormed the Capitol, correct? On January 6th. And in the second sentence right here says, here, I'll show you a little closer. Is there no end to the lies? Is there nothing they hold sacred? Calling J6ers law-abiding citizens is like calling an arsonist a fire marshal. All right, so as you can see, this order is very selective for only a minuscule group of people. It's cherry-picked by Mr. Trump. So what I'd like to know is, why aren't we addressing the decades of systemic redlining that have locked Black and brown folks out of homeownership for so long? Where is the mention of the astronomical interest rates that banks tend to give people, especially the lower income people or the people of color again? Payday loans, the check cashing traps, the predatory lenders. Fair banking, if you're going to make it fair for all Americans, you should include all Americans into the executive order. That just didn't happen. And obviously we can see where his priorities lie and who his priorities lie with. So now that we have established that the name of that order is just a complete lie, then I'm going through and I'm seeing it's so specific. It's such a targeted, and then it's got these keywords that are in there, and I'm like, this is about something very specific. So I did some digging into it, and I'm going to show you what this EO is actually about, what its purpose is, the whole reason it was signed into existence. I am at judiciary.house.gov. Federal investigators asked banks to search and filter customer transactions with the keywords, MAGA, Trump, Dick's Sporting Goods, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, and more. So if you remember, looking at back to the executive order, those very exact words are what's brought up in this order. Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, peer-to-peer payments, Trump, MAGA. So he specifically is protecting, like this is literally to protect his people, his Proud Boys, his crew from January 6th. That's all this order is for. So when the feds told the banks to monitor those keywords, to flag those P2P transactions, it was to follow the money trail because that's what was used as that it funded the January 6th coup. The P2P transactions paid for, the travel expenses, the gear they needed, and the attack itself, the attack on the Capitol. Those transactions funded the coup, and that's why the feds wanted to track the money trail, and that's why Trump who manufactured this order just to protect them. He's twisting the fair banking to shield the people who tried to overthrow democracy. That's corruption in plain sight. And for those of you who still don't think that Black people have been disadvantaged, have been discriminated against, and still are, let's just take a look and see what we're dealing with here. We are at the U.S. Department of the Treasury, so a government site. And this is from 2022. I mean, as it says, it'll tell you nothing's changed in the last 30 years, so it hasn't changed in the last 3 either. So we're going to look at this from racial differences in economic security, housing. Here we can see home ownership. The home ownership rate for white households in 2022 was 75% compared to 45% for Black households, 48% for Hispanic, and 57% for non-Hispanic of any other race. So like the overall racial wealth gaps, these gaps in home ownership rates have changed little over the last 3 decades. In fact, the Black-white gap in home ownership rates was the same in 2020 as it was in 1970. Just 2 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which sought to end racial discrimination in the housing market. It sought to do that, but it absolutely did not. So I just provided you with one small example of where discrimination lies. It's in everything. It's in housing, policing, education, healthcare, everything. And yes, it still does exist today. You can find information on it anywhere if you take the time to do some research. I promise it's there. Now we're going to look at this order named Taking Steps to End Cashless Bail to Protect Americans. Incarcerating individuals whose pending criminal charges or criminal history demonstrate a clear ongoing risk to society, okay? When these individuals are released without bail under city or state policies, they are permitted, even encouraged, to further endanger law-abiding, hardworking Americans. Because, listen to this, they know our laws will not be enforced. By ending cashless bail, this order is creating a system of poverty equals punishment. Essentially, you're jailed for being poor long before your guilt is ever proven, which brings me to my next point, that they're throwing innocent until proven guilty completely out the window, and it's turning it into guilty if you can't afford freedom. Now, another thing is that the bail laws are set by states. That it's not set by the federal government. It's not a federal thing, it's a state thing. So now he's forcing states into compliance which is federal overreach. And he's threatening to cut off funding for programs if states don't comply, which is another one of his famous power moves that he's used before and it will continue to use as long as he gets away with it. And that's not a political move, it's blackmail with taxpayer dollars. States rely on that money for education, infrastructure, healthcare. Holding it hostage to push a partisan agenda is both reckless, not to mention unconstitutional. This order isn't about protecting Americans. Don't let it fool you. Don't let the words fool you. It's about stripping away rights, like he's been doing. It violates the presumption of innocence, it bulldozes state sovereignty, and it weaponizes federal funding as a stick to beat states into submission. Okay, so this next order we're looking at is one that I touched on, that I did highlight in my previous episode, Digging Up Dirt, all about looking inside the whitehouse.gov website. This is just another one that I really feel is dangerous and needs to be talked about further. So this one is preventing woke AI in the federal government. AI will play a critical role in how Americans of all ages learn new skills, consume information, and navigate their daily lives. Americans will require reliable outputs from AI, but when ideological biases or social agendas are built into AI models, they can distort the quality and accuracy of the output. Here we go with this. One of the most pervasive and destructive of these ideologies is so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the AI context, DEI includes the suppression or distortion of factual information about race or sex, manipulation of racial or sexual representation in model outputs, incorporation of concepts like critical race theory, transgenderism, unconscious bias, intersectionality, and systemic racism, and discrimination on the basis of race or sex. DEI displaces the commitment to truth in favor of preferred outcomes, and as recent history illustrates, poses an existential threat to reliable AI. What he has done with the word woke is weaponize it. He's correlated it with the enemy, with liberals, with the left, his opposition. And he's framed fairness, inclusion, and accuracy as something dangerous. By labeling woke as something biased, it's really just an attempt to hard code his biases into the AI systems that will handle data, law enforcement, benefits, healthcare. If government AI is forbidden from factoring in systemic biases or equity, the outputs will naturally skew toward reinforcing existing inequalities. That means decisions about jobs, benefits, housing, policing, immigration will be shaped by partisan coding. It is a massive national security risk. Cutting-edge AI requires diverse perspectives to reduce blind spots. Stripping that away means government AI will be less accurate, less fair, and more open to manipulation. This is one of, if not the most dangerous, most reckless of the orders he's put out thus far. I mean, just think about the implications of this. Our future generations will use AI far more frequently than we already are now. And that means that the ignorance and the biases and the indoctrination, it will be coded with the same ideologies, the same biases that the current leaders and his supporters have today. It ensures the government's technology sees the world through one lens, their lens. This very dangerous, inconceivable executive order that he has put out there is the very reason that I've been diving deeper in meaning, the actual meaning behind the words that he puts out are, because it's very different from what he makes it appear to be. And it's very much the reason that we need to keep spreading this information, to keep spreading the truth. So please, 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 please share the video, share the channel, share the message, because we cannot allow him to erase history, change it. Tell me what you think about what he's doing. And I will see you next week right here on From Dirt We Grow. Have a good week. Thank you for being here.